I was a lead scout for the company. And I was supposed to have 12 men, but I only had 3 that actually stayed with me. I had 3 that went the whole way with me, and they never got hurt either. It's interesting how that could possibly happen, but it did happen. And so my job was, you know, as soon as we took command of the beach, well, the Germans pulled back. Well, nobody knew whether they pulled back 2 or 3 blocks or 2 or 3 miles. So my job was to go and find where they was, come back and report it, and then go with the company to take that objective, whatever it was. And then here I would go again. I was in a rifle company, and everybody did get a rifle. And the clip only holds about 8 or 9 shots. And when you need them, 8 or 9 shots, as fast as you pull the trigger, it's very little. And so I decided real quick that I needed more shots than that. And so they wasn't like a big supply place where you could go and get you a different weapon. You picked it up on the field. And I found a BAR, which it weighed 22 pounds loaded, and it was a long-range type gun, but it held 22 shells. And I thought, well, that beats 8. So I carried it a little while, but as you can imagine, we had a lot of street fighting from one house to the next. So you got to search every room in every house, and then out on the street. And I can remember one incident where over there there's a lot of little valleys, and the hills kind of come in from both sides, and houses built on each side, you know, very narrow streets, and this and that. And we had come in, we was taking that town one house at a time. And the way it was, the houses were very close together. In fact, you could hardly walk between any of the houses because they were just jammed right up together. And we had mortars setting up on our side of our house, shelling the house next door. So the guns would go straight up and right down. And so it was that type of thing. And there was a young lady there. She's a beautiful girl. She's probably early 20s. And since I was in charge, she talked to me. And she said, this is my grandma and grandpa, and I'm just here to take care of them. And she says, they don't want this war, and I don't want this war, but we're in it. And she says, I know for a fact that Germans is in every house in this town. And she says, if you'll promise me you won't tear up our house, she said, I'll cook some really good meals for you. And I said, well, you've got a deal. She says, we don't have any water in the house. So she said, we have to carry the water in. But she said, I can go out and get fresh water and fresh vegetables and stuff. And she said, they won't bother me. So we did that. We stayed there about 3 days. And we never even slept in their bed. We slept on the floor. So we left that house like we found it. And when it was over, and we had control of that town, we stacked bodies as much as 5 deep along the side so our trucks could get through and move on. So yeah, they was lots of Germans. They'd back up into these towns, and it was some fierce fighting. So I picked me up a Thompson submachine gun. So that's one of them short ones. One of them things, you can't hit nothing with it. If you raise it up to shoot, it'll just rear up with you. They shoot so fast. But if you learn, which I did real quick, I'm left-handed with a weapon of that type. And I found out if you'd hold the strap in one hand and instead of holding the gun straight, hold it loosely sideways, the thing would bounce sideways instead of straight up. and you could just cut a wall in two with it, you know. You didn't have to aim it or nothing, just hold it loose and it would just go. So that, I found that to be a great weapon for the close fighting that we did. So what I done, they gave us a gas mask carrier, and I didn't go very far till I said, well, fellas, I'm gonna ditch this gas mask carrier. And they said, well, what for? And I said, well, I'm gonna fill this canvas bag full of Thompson clips. The clips held 50 rounds. And I said, I can change it just by pressing a button, you know, and how that works. And I said, I'm gonna fill this with shells, with clips. 45 caliber is what they use. And they said, well, you might need that gas mask. And I said, I might need it, but I know I need these shells. So I said, I'm gonna take what I know I need against something that I might possibly use. You could be shooting and you wouldn't know if you was actually the one that killed somebody or not. Could have been anybody. Might have been you, but might not. And this was right just after we left the beach. We were searching this town, and I walked into this one house, the first one I come to, and there was an SS troop laying on a divan. He was asleep, and he had a pistol in his hand like this. And I didn't hardly know how to react to that. And we had a Mexican guy that was in charge of his company. And so I told him, I said, they called him Cisco Kid. And I said, Cisco, there's a soldier in that house right there. I said, I just opened the door, he's in there asleep. And he says, kill him. And I says, kill him? And he says, oh yeah, kill him. And he says, let me just tell you, he said, this is war. If you don't kill him, he's gonna kill you. So he said, you don't have no choice. He said, kill him. So where is he? And I said, right down here. And we opened that door and he said, give me that Thompson. And so I handed it to him and he kicked that guy's foot, and boy, that guy came out. He come close to being fast enough to use that pistol, but he kicked his foot, and when he come out with that gun in his hand, he just sprayed him with my gun. And I said, oh man. So that was my very first one to actually know about. We got to the Rhine River. Me and my three guys, I can't count the others, they didn't last. But me and those three guys was sent out. We had to cross that river, and there was only one place that we could find that seemed logical, because it's a real swift river, not very wide, but it was swift. And we found the most likely place, and we also found about 37 or 8 Germans guarding it. And they was probably 4 or 5 miles ahead of us. So our troops were way back here. So we slipped up there, and somehow or another we seen them way before they seen us, and we walked right up on them. We scattered out, and 4 of us, and we brought all those guys back. So that's a type of thing that you get a medal for. You know, when we first came back, they discharged us right away, and the ones that wanted to be discharged, they offered me another rank to stay, but I said, well, ever since I've been in this Army, they've been trying to kill me. I said, I don't think I'm gonna stay here. So I didn't stay at all. It's the most expensive thing. Well, I don't know how you could ever describe it. If you could have seen, the lives that was lost on that one beach, and there's a cemetery there now with 10,000 in it, so that's history. And I just don't know how you could But I don't think there'd be a way you could put a price on it.